Hello to you, our viewers. We welcome you to this latest edition of the news in English on Rwanda Television. My name is Sarah Shinhole. Let us begin with the headlines. Students returning to their boarding schools in Rwanda on Monday will be seeing the start of the academic year, and so what began their journey. Now the details. My name is Sarah Shinhore. The Kigali Pele Stadium was on Sunday packed with more than 10,000 students and their parents, with the children making their journey back to their boarding schools. We have the details with William Evans Mutabazi.
According to the National Examination and School Inspection Authority, NESA, boarding school students are scheduled to report back to their different schools beginning 6th all through to the 9th of September this year. Kigali Pele Stadium is the official designated setting off point, and according to the mentioned schedule, today Sunday 8th, only students whose schools are located in the areas of Ruhango and Huye, Rulindo and Gakenye, Karongi and Rutsiro, Ngoma and Kirehe are the ones officially to be transported. However, because it is the second last day, the turn-up has significantly been high, according to officials we spoke to. The number of students has increased. We anticipate the same to happen tomorrow, and this is because there are new students joining Senior 1 and Senior 4. As days pass, the numbers keep increasing. We received close to 2,000 students on the first day. Yesterday, about 3,000 plus, and today, if you look closely, we might transport almost 12,000 students and more, because some parents are also escorting their children. Facilities including food vendors have been availed for students and their parents who might need something to eat or to drink, and children or parents with disabilities also have people to assist them. These have also requested NESA to consider having designated spaces for students and parents living with disabilities so they are better served.
We make sure that they have areas that are accessible. Let me say in buses, we have specific places they have to get before other children get in. We could maybe have a specific place, and they say all children with disabilities have to sit here, and we find them there. It could be easy for us, but because there is no specific place, they are combined with others. They are sitting with others. We may even pass and we don't see the child because maybe we didn't see that child that has disability. So it's really challenge. It's really difficult for us, but if we were maybe if they could organize and say this place is for only children with disabilities, it can really help us.
Some of the students we spoke to say they find such arrangements better than going to different bus parks like it was the routine in the past. Considerably, this is better than going to the bus parks because vehicles are readily available, and specifically for students, we do not have to fight for space with other passengers. Bus parks are usually busy with a lot of passengers. This makes students late. Some parents, however, especially those from distant districts, say they wait for longer hours compared to the time they wait when they board directly from the bus parks, which is a challenge since they must make return journeys back to their homes. On the parents' platform, they said it was 9 o'clock. Now, it is 2 p.m. and children have not left. No vehicles, and children are not well organized, which makes us wonder what could happen in case we left them here. I left Nyagatare at almost 3:30 a.m. By 6 a.m. I had arrived in Nyabugogo, then came here. Until now, we have not boarded. How then will I be able to go to Ruhango and back to Nyagatare? We request the government to allocate specific days to different regions, or to let us board as we wish, because by now I would have already gotten a vehicle to Ruhango. By the time RTV left, NESA officials had assured us that they are doing all it takes to ensure that all students get means to report to their different schools, and those who will not will be hosted in already reserved schools in Kigali, where they will spend a night and also get meals, then travel tomorrow. William Evans Mutabazi, RTV News.
Thank you, William. Now, efforts have intensified to ensure that young people here in Rwanda become job creators and not just seekers. We have the details with Enola Gladys Benimana.
In Kigali Special Economic Zone in Masoro, in Kigali City, about 250 young people are being taught how to make and sew clothes. It is a course that they believe will give them the ability to be self-employed and thus build their future. They took care of my son and feed him with an egg every day, and before I couldn't get it to feed him. I plan to work and go on the job market because now I completed courses and learned a lot.
First time we came, we thought it was about just tailoring, but later we found it is something that we were going to learn as a skill and use it to create our own jobs and create our own designs.
They got us good tutors in tailoring, and they provided a suitable place for our children to take care of them. There is no school we can take to take good care of them as they do. I used to be an alcoholic person, very bad, but now I become a normal person as others. I want to also help others to teach them tailoring as they did for me. The management of the DICAM company teaches young people that the implementation of their wishes is possible. I took a program of taking some of the teenage mothers. We have some plans with the Korawigire program sponsored by USAID. They give me teenage mothers and I teach them while their babies are in the place reserved for babies, and their mothers would be safe to learn tailoring so that they can have skills that can give them a normal job other than being prostitutes. So far, I have around 30 people who have their own place where they work, where they are able to make their own clothes and sell them on the market. That also, I would say that it is a very good role that DICAM gave Rwandans, because it is a Rwandan factory that teaches people tailoring and they create their own jobs by what they learned from here. Currently in Rwanda, there are about 70 large and medium-sized industries that make clothes, and they need skilled workers, opportunities for those who have this knowledge. Enola Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Enola. Now, economic analysts here in Rwanda say that more efforts should be directed towards awareness campaigns aimed at improving the culture of saving and investing. That way, the government can achieve its goal of doubling private investment. We have more with William Evans Mutabazi.
Economists find that the culture of saving and investing is low among people of various classes in Rwanda. Dr. Fidel, a university economics lecturer, points out that the culture of saving and investing is still low among people of different classes in our societies because of different reasons. Usually, investment is a reflection of savings. In other words, an individual can only invest as much as he has saved. If this is not the case, without having savings, then you might as well fail to find what to invest unless if you resort to aid or acquire loans. Dr. Fidel further urges that it is also important that people look beyond the traditional saving schemes to other ways of saving and investing, such as investing in stock exchange markets or security exchange markets. However, a big number of people still think of such ventures as but limited to the rich only. I personally have no knowledge on stock exchange markets, but I have heard it's a thing for wealthy people. I don't think as a motorist I can undertake this investment plan. I hear about stock exchange markets a lot, and I feel I can try it out, but you might find it is for only financially able people. Rwabukumba Celeste, CEO, Rwanda Stock Exchange Limited, says that although participation has not reached a high level like in economically developed countries, some Rwandans have already invested in this market, saving mainly through buying government bonds. Everyone who is in position of earning money in this country, from whatever they do, can invest in stock exchange markets. The most important thing is for these individuals to approach us for inquiries or any other assistance. Rwandan government plans to double investment both domestically and foreign in the next 5 years. According to the National Strategy for Transformation 2, private investment value is projected to increase from $2.2 billion in 2023 to $4.6 billion in 2029. The goal is that Rwanda's export earnings will increase from $3.5 billion to $7.3 billion. This will be achieved by increasing the value of production in various sectors, including agriculture, livestock, and mining. William Evans, Mutabazi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, William. Now, in light of the recent Mpox cases detected here in Rwanda, our colleague Olive Ntete spoke to Dr. Edson Rwagasore, the Division Manager of Public Health Surveillance and Emergency Preparedness and Response at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, to gain insight into the country's current situation. During the interview, Dr. Rwagasore provides updates on the Mpox virus and shares the measures being taken to curb its spread in this country. Take a look.
To Health Matters, it's been almost a month and a few days since the first cases of Mpox virus were detected in Rwanda, and today we are going to look at the current situation, how far with the preventive measures that were put in place, and the rest. Today, joining me is Dr. Edson Rwagasore, a Division Manager for Public Health Surveillance and Emergency Preparedness and Response at the Rwanda Biomedical Center. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Olive.
Yes, going straight to our topic today, could you provide an update of the current situation of Mpox virus in Rwanda, considering it's been almost a month and some few days since the first cases were detected?
We've been seeing an increasing spread of Mpox type called Clade 1B within the region, and this has been affecting different countries, including Burundi, DRC, Rwanda, Kenya, and also Uganda. So for the last few months, I think so far we have recorded 4 cases in Rwanda, and all cases actually linked to travel history within these countries that have recorded a widespread community transmission. However, despite have recorded and showing that we are containing the spread of Mpox within the country, we need to keep on being vigilant. Yes. And with this, we need to ensure that community are engaged. We need to ensure that we enhance our surveillance, but most importantly, with the school opening, we need to ensure that schools are open safely and ensure that there's all preventive measures within school settings.
Leading to that you just ended on, what are the measures that have been implemented countrywide to mitigate the spread and impact of the Mpox virus?
Since the beginning of the outbreak in a place called Kamituga, this is the southern part of the DRC, we put in place different measures, including screening of the point of entry, where people coming in the country, we're able to screen them. In addition to that, we have launched a 60 days mission to contain the spread of Mpox in the country. And this is a comprehensive plan which has different strategic interventions, including making sure that community engagement is well done, and also making sure that we do screen, isolate, and test. But at the same time, we also plan to have ring vaccination. So maybe diving deep into how we're doing this, maybe on the community engagement. We are doing community engagement through different media. But most importantly, we have launched some few days ago what's called door-to-door. This is done by the network of community health workers, where this has a dual purpose, where they reach out to every household, educate them, but at the same time screen the family members if there's anyone who has symptoms. On the pillar related to screen and isolate, we have decentralized the capacity to test. And so far, we have more than 3 hospitals that are now testing of the capacity to test Mpox cases. And also, as we move forward, we also want to make sure that we have a plan to initiate ring vaccination. And this will be done especially for the high-risk groups and also contacts of cases.
Still on the preventive measures, you said that you have decentralized measures to engage the community, and the school is about to start, as you said. What are some of the measures that you have put in place so that these kids won't be affected, or they won't contract the Mpox virus?
School are very important at this critical juncture due to the fact that whenever there's an outbreak within schools, there's a high chance or the high risk of community transmission within neighboring areas. And with this, we're able to start during this period. We've been preparing for school opening, where we've been training school teachers on how they can keep on screening, doing daily screening of symptomatic children. And with this, we are aiming, our objective is to make sure that we prevent any outbreak within school settings.
Do these schools have like specific materials that are needed in screening?
Screening for schools is so easy and doesn't need much time. It's just one is looking at the symptoms, because Mpox is so different from other outbreaks such as COVID, where whenever you have, if you're infected with Mpox, it's easier to identify. So school teachers will be able to identify anyone who will be presenting with symptoms and actually linking that person or child to test and also make sure that they are isolated promptly.
Moving forward, what about the introduce of vaccinations? There are various countries that has initiated the use of vaccinations. Are we likely to see Rwanda receiving and admitting them? And on that, what will be, who will be eligible for Mpox vaccination?
Vaccination is a central within our response plan. And we're aiming to make sure that we will be vaccinating. Our plan is really looking at how we can vaccinate in an approach called ring vaccination. The ring vaccination means we vaccinate high-risk groups, and also at the same time we'll be looking at how we can be vaccinating contacts of cases. So with all these strategic interventions, including education, make sure that we test, we isolate, and also doing ring vaccination, we are really confident that we'll be able to contain the spread within the next 60 days.
Moving forward, as you said, the Mpox virus has types. What are some of the types of Mpox? What type do we have in Rwanda currently?
First of all, that Mpox is caused by a virus. And within this virus, it's a group of viruses that includes smallpox and chickenpox. There are different types of Mpox virus. So actually there are 3 types, including what's grouped into clades. So we have clade 1A, and then we have clade 1B, and then we have clade 2. So looking at the geographical spread of this type of clades, you can see that DRC, it has both clade 1A and clade 1B. But we also we're observing an increase of clade 2 in some different countries within especially southern part of Africa, but also the West Africa region.
So what type do we have in Rwanda currently?
So currently, not only just for Rwanda, actually for the region, there's a clade 1B, and this is actually initiated in the place called Kamituga, I've just said, and it spread across the region. And this was mainly being driven by the fact that it's a transmission dynamics around this is still much more linked to sexual intercourse.
So we are speaking about Mpox. Maybe there is someone following us who doesn't know about this virus. Can you briefly remind us of the ways in which Mpox is transmitted and outline its key signs and symptoms?
Mpox is spread especially with a very close contact. And this has been evident that this can be through sexual intercourse, where majority of people who are being infected with the clade 1B is through the sexual intercourse. So this can be either protected or unprotected sexual intercourse. So on addition to that, other mode of transmission, we can say that there's can also possibility of spillover from animals to human. And this especially is within the clade 1A that I've just mentioned, that is also spreading in some provinces within DRC. It's now more even evident that there's also vertical transmission from mothers to children. There's a lot the science behind this. Still, people are looking at how this happens, but there is also evident that there is also vertical transmission from mothers to children.
Coming back a little bit more, what are the signs and symptoms, you did mention them, of Mpox virus?
The symptoms linked to mpox viruses, actually the main one is a skin rash. Skin rash, it's really itchy, and after that you can have other symptoms including fever and also swollen lymph nodes. So those are the main one, but I think the easiest one is to, whenever you have symptoms related to skin rash, please seek care and get tested.
What is the message to the population? What do you require from the population while we are facing this virus, and how can they contribute to avoid the spread of the virus?
So I believe community engagement is so important. It's very important, especially looking at how the transmission dynamics with the mpox. So we do request the public to make sure that whenever they have symptoms, to seek care. That's one. Two, as you're opening schools, also parents should also consider doing kind of quick screening, quick check if their children have any of the symptoms, and at least link them to tests and then isolate them, rather than sending sick children to schools.
Currently, how many people are suffering from this virus, and how are they doing?
So far, we still have 4 cases that have been confirmed as of today. And actually 3 of them they've recovered, and one is still under isolation. We have tried to follow up and make sure that he get healed as soon as possible.
One last question before we sum up our interview: how long does it take for someone to get healed from the mpox virus?
Mostly it's between 2 to 4 weeks. That's how long it takes. So, but with the cases, we actually do test after 3 weeks and see if it has cleared the virus. But over time, it always takes 4 weeks to actually be confident that you have cleared the virus.
Dr. Edson Rwagasore, Division Manager for Public Health Surveillance and Emergency Preparedness and Response at RBC, thank you for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and now a look at the international scene. We'll stay with health matters, with Kenyan and Ugandan health authorities having beefed up mpox surveillance at their common border points as the number of infections in the region continues to increase. Truck drivers are now forced to wait for longer hours, that is, in the Kenyan county of Busia just to be cleared. We have the following report courtesy of CGTN.
Long queues of trucks, up to 30 kilometers long. This time round, however, there are no logistical issues. The truck drivers are waiting to be cleared by the medical teams at the Malaba one-stop border point. New measures put in place by health officials to curb the spread of the mpox virus mean crossing the Kenya-Uganda border now takes much longer. And drivers who had only planned for normal crossing say they've been hit hard. Joel Kingori, a seasoned long-distance truck driver, says everything has changed since the first few cases of mpox were reported in Kenya.
We are not even interacting with drivers from the affected countries because of the stigma. We are just talking from a distance and taking precautions. We used to sit and eat together previously, but now we are told by health officials to wash our hands and keep distance from the other drivers who are coming from the affected areas, which is unfortunate because some are our friends.
The Kenyan and Ugandan health ministries have beefed up surveillance at the Busia border point. Not only the truck drivers are subjected to the mandatory checks here at the border, but everyone coming in from Uganda is supposed to be checked properly. So the port health official will ask anyone how they're feeling, if they've experienced any signs and symptoms of mpox. And before that, temperatures are taken, and of course a questionnaire is given for you to answer some questions before you're now allowed to cross to the other side of Kenya. Despite the measures, some local residents say they're witnessing many people from the affected countries moving freely between Kenya and Uganda at the border towns of Malaba and Busia.
Unapata ni kwamba these long distance drivers.
The risk here mostly is that these long-distance drivers interact with a lot of locals within the county, and these locals end up going to their villages, risking the lives of many vulnerable people.
Local members.
Medical teams say they're doing their best to ensure cases of mpox do not spread. They are, however, worried that the continued movement of people to and from Uganda using illegal crossing points could undo all the hard work they've put in to curb the spread of the mpox outbreak.
Unfortunately, you discover that because of the border, some of the contacts are actually across the border on the other side in Uganda and not just in Busia. And in fact, among the 4 scares that we've had, including the one that turned out positive, 2 of them were actually manual workers who had crossed in from Uganda, and they are doing some manual work in Kenya here in one of the villages across. And so when we reached out to them, our surveillance teams reached out to them, samples were taken. Unfortunately, before they could even be put somewhere, some of them had already disappeared and crossed back to Uganda.
Kenya confirmed the 5th case of mpox this week. According to the Health Ministry, 124 samples have so far been submitted to laboratories for testing, with 110 testing negative, while 9 are still being analyzed. Nick Mudimba, CGTN, Malaba, Kenya.
That report has brought us to the end of this edition of the news. But before we go, let us once again take a look at the headlines. Students are returning to their boarding schools here in Rwanda, with Monday seeing the start of a new academic year. And as we just saw on the international scene, authorities in the East African region have stepped up measures to fight the spread of the mpox virus. Now, it's the end of the news here on Rwanda Television, but programs are continuing, so stay with us. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. Goodbye.